That's close to your hand. I was worried about that on the day.
Well, it's just scary because you really have to sell that you're hitting really hard.
You'd be surprised to find out just how difficult it was to film some of our favorite Season 4 moments of Stranger Things.
This is going to be beautiful.
From being mounted to a wall for hours, painful fight sequences to Hopper's near frostbite, you definitely need a high pain tolerance to visit Hawkins.
It was crazy. I mean, I hope you guys liked it.
Number 1. This time, we're not talking about Eddie's sick guitar.
This isn't the day that the axe...
Yep, this is that day.
When filming the big showdown at the Creel house, Joe Keery had a major moment where Vecna's vines grab his axe and pull him against the wall. But if you've seen all of our other videos where we break down Stranger Things' CGI, you'd know Vecna's vines aren't actually there. What we're really seeing is Joe Keery pretending like his arm is being pulled back by swinging the axe backwards. This is where the danger happens.
Swung the axe really hard and it just slid out of your hand.
Yeah, in the butt.
And went directly into camera.
We don't know about you, but we'd love to see how that shot turned out.
You know, a lot of adrenaline going. They'd never done anything like this. It was like the fight day.
Number 2, also known as the Demogorgon fight. Now, it's not like we would expect a Russian prison fight to be the safest thing to shoot. But as far as dangerous scenes go, this is definitely up there. The Duffer Brothers actually sacrificed a bit of creative vision to keep their crew safe. They originally envisioned the sequence done in one shot. But because of how dangerous the stunts were, they decided against it. They ended up doing a few shots and just stitching them all together.
It really was a coordination of a lot of different departments just to get here.
Number 3, more like running through that slime. Sadie Sink and her stunt double went through a week-long ringer getting this scene shot. She was standing in a real rocky, bloody kind of pan. Not only that, but Sadie had to bob and weave like there were actual objects falling from the sky.
And I'm just remembering how slippery the ground was and how careful I had to walk on it.
Sadie's stunt double also had to take a few gnarly falls into the bloody water at the end of it.
Like, it feels real, like the stakes are really high. It was not like the easiest set to film on.
Number 4, similar to like a TV.
Oh yeah, Natalia's actually one of the most brutal because she's at an angle on the wall.
We mentioned earlier that Vecna's vines weren't there when filming, so in those moments where Steve, Robin, and Nancy are pinned against the wall in the Creel house, they were really just mounted there with clips into a harness.
It was really hard to get you guys up there, so they would just leave you up there.
Yeah, hours.
Number 5, we're talking lots and lots of salt. Millie Bobby Brown goes full method in this Stranger Things sequence. For starters, she was inside that tank for a few days, for at least 10 to 12 hours a day, and couldn't hear a thing because her ears were underwater the entire time. In an interview with Variety, Millie talks about her struggle with claustrophobia during filming. I suffer from claustrophobia, so when we closed the tank, I definitely felt like, oh my gosh, I am 11. I am really going through this.
I feel like it was just a crazy episode.
Number 6, we're talking emotional and physical.
I was supposed to do something, but I was just like making a sound. I was like, eh.
By the end of shooting the finale, particularly the attic scene, Caleb McLaughlin had been through a lot. He has a major fight scene with Mason Dye's character, Jason, which took an incredibly long time to get down.
I don't know why, but I remember knowing that I had to do it. And I prepared for it mentally. It was a long day.
By the end of it, when he's screaming for Max, his emotional intensity is through the roof. He even ad-libbed a few lines because of it. He was doing so much physical activity and screaming so much, he nearly lost his voice.
It was crazy, but it was like really fun to film though.
Number 7. No amount of thermal socks could help David Harbour with this. We're sure you all noticed his character, the legendary Hopper, making his grand escape from the USSR totally barefoot. Yeah, that was all real.
It's really not pleasant for your bare feet to be on snow for a long period of time. So,
needless to say, he much preferred his time filming in Atlanta over the freezing chaos that was Hopper's journey through Lithuania. Number 8. We're definitely sensing a theme here. Sadie and her stunt double spent a fair amount of time strapped into harnesses and being pulled around.
There was like a rope tied to my ankle and then dragged me across the floor.
Not only that, but the stunt double was actually pulled by 3 guys across the floor as they pulled her up and mounted her onto a pillar.
While we dragged the stunt Max on her belly and up against the pillar.
Number 9. There's definitely a big watery element of danger here. Joe Keery had to break out all of his swim training to dive 16 feet down into this huge 40-foot tank.
How big do you think it was, guys? Like 40 feet? It was a big circle, 40 by, it's probably a few gallons, I think, yeah.
In preparation for the role, Joe took tons of swim lessons so he could pass as Steve Harrington, captain of the swim team and hotshot lifeguard.
I got to kind of showcase this different side of the character.
Number 10. Not quite dangerous, more like straight up terrified. We all know Vecna is incredibly scary and almost completely done up with practical effects, so naturally he makes quite the impression.
He snapped his neck and looked at me.
And I'm there and I'm like fully in it, like staring at people, grunting, growling.
Millie had no idea Vecna was gonna look like that. She thought he was going to be all CGI. She was utterly terrified. She couldn't even go through with the scene.
The whole rehearsal, I was crying.
Truly though, who wouldn't freak out seeing Vecna pace around your place of work? Especially when it's Jamie Campbell Bower underneath all of it. He didn't even break character.
It's like talking to her inside my mind. I was like, no, Jamie's dead. Like, it's just Vecna.
Number 11. We had to include a few season 3 bonuses.
He's here.
Natalia Dyer was super tough for this season 3 sequence. She definitely had to endure a few migraines at the very least.
Oh, those lights. Days and days of those flickering lights. It's a quick way to get a migraine.
Even still, with her pounding head, she quickly volunteered to do her own stunt of being thrown into the wall.
I tried to get them to let me do it, but they said no way.
She was probably better off leaving it to the stunt professionals.
She was great. She did a really good job, repeatedly thrown into the wall.
Number 12. Gotta love a good Hawkins scuffle. In the season 3 Russian base scene, Joe Keery gets to do all of his own stunts when fighting the guard, whose actual name is George.
This is George.
From Russia. Him and his family joined the circus.
George had to take a ton of heavy hits in this scene.
George had to get all the heavy hits. Sorry, George.
Luckily though, he did have a stunt guy stand in for one of the more dangerous scenes where Joe smacks him across the face with a phone. The phone itself was foam, but the next hit was 100% real.
Then the stuntman, he's actually hitting his head on the desk.
Yeah.
And he hits it hard. I mean, you can see this, that's not a joke.
This talented cast and crew is definitely no stranger to danger.
Definitely exceeded my expectations with how scary they could go.
From on-set mishaps to actual painful, exhausting sequences, it seems like a regular day at the office for them.
We got through all the hard stuff. Now all we need to do is the soldier just needs to run in and fake death, and that's it.
Which scene do you think was the most difficult to film?